lot less sexual chemistry with Downey, but still some, still a lot.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Alden and Phoebe, I actually want to start with you guys. So much of this movie is about a man who can't deal with watching his partner succeed over him. And you are both in positions in Hollywood where obviously you're doing very well, where you've succeeded at many moments in your career. But I'm sort of curious, earlier in your careers, when you were going to auditions and you were landing the parts over other people, how much did you guys have to deal with the jealousies and the pettiness of your fellow actors? Is that something that comes with success in Hollywood?
I think it's there. I don't think that goes away. I mean, I think that Hollywood is very much like a high school cafeteria, basically. And there are people who are, the mentality is that everybody's trying to get at the cool table. And it's like that the whole time. It just changes venues. But I've been around AAA list movie stars, and they're just worrying about that other AAA list movie star. And so there's no winning. You don't win because you get successful. You win because you draw on whatever resources you can to, take back your attention and consciousness from being wrapped up in that all the time in whatever way you can find. But it's a day-to-day practice for me, at least.
I think I'm lucky because I live in London and I'm kind of away from it all. None of my close friends that I went to school with are actors. So I get to kind of dip in and out of it, and I love kind of being away from it. I also love coming in and kind of, dipping my toe back in, seeing what's happening. But yeah, I think I'm lucky in that regard that I'm not surrounded by actors in my day-to-day life.
Fair enough. Alden, just between the four of us, when you mentioned those A-list movie stars, which ones specifically were you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a list.
Just carry the list with you at all times.
Yeah, exactly.
Chloe, it goes without saying that the relationship between Luke and Emily wildly different at the beginning of the film than it is at the end. So I am so curious about how the evolution of an on-screen relationship affects how you direct the actors off-screen. What is the difference between how you approach these two on the first scene versus how you approach them on the last scene?
I think it's I didn't really think about it in terms of, okay, this is the first scene, this is the last scene. You know what I mean? I think each scene I come in with a strong intention, knowing exactly what I want out of it, and sometimes we will have talked about those intentions before. Sometimes I don't want to put anything in their head, and I just want to see what they've brought to the table first, and because I think. Ultimately, I always know what I want out of the scene, but I think sometimes when you come in with too much strong direction on performance specifically before they've even done the first or second take, it can get in the way of something that they have that they're bringing without my notes in their head. So I always we did rehearse probably 80% of the movie before we shot. But on the day of, I don't like to get any too specific notes until we kind of get into the second or third take.
Alden, when it comes to sort of the idea and the theme of jealousy, I feel like you've had two roles this year that have been on opposite sides of the coin. In this film, you are the man who can't handle someone else's success. In Oppenheimer, you're dealing with the person who can't handle someone's success. So I was wondering if you could talk maybe a little bit about working opposite Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer and how that experience may have compared to Luke on this film, just from the perspective of the themes of jealousy and insecurity.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that at all, but it makes sense. Working with Downey was truly like a great joy. I was very ready to have him be like other A-list movie stars I've worked with, where they're very nice, and this isn't across the board, but very often they come in, they do their job, they get in their car, they go home. That's it, and it's great, exciting to be around. He was so much more open and collaborative than I had ever expected, and we went on a road trip together and just developed this friendship that was really lovely and still is. And so it was really beautiful to I got really lucky in this and I got really lucky in that to have great chemistry with the person that I'm across from, and you don't get to choose that. But lot less sexual chemistry with Downey, but
Still some.
Still a lot, but just less. It was just I got very lucky to be able to work with people that dynamic was really great.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.